Get started with our work session.
Great. Thank you, everyone, for coming in tonight a little bit early to do a little work on our strategic plan. As you can see on the big screen up here behind us or in front of us here, this is our strategic plan. It is placed on our website. JR and I have been working on the cleaning up the website just to make it real easy for the strategic plan to be found. And just to back up for those of you who maybe are just joining us for the first time, this strategic plan is rebuilt, adjusted every year as new strategies are implemented in our district to meet these overarching three large goals. This strategic plan was updated for this school year, and we brought it to our board retreat about a month ago, maybe a month and a half ago now. We had a nice discussion about the strategic plan and decided to move forward with this plan for the year. And since then, I've been taking this plan around and utilizing this plan as an alignment tool, a leadership alignment tool, just to help all of our teams and our community and everyone involved in the great learning outcomes for our students to stay focused on what is most important in our district. These three guiding goals: the number one goal, improve wellness and safety. That goes for students and for our staff. And number two is improve student achievement. We're going to talk a lot about that tonight. There's some big celebrations to be had with that goal tonight. Number three is improve communication and collaboration. This is a really big one with all departments, all schools, and throughout our community. This is really what helps us stay ahead with our positive messaging around the good work we're doing. And I can't emphasize communication and collaboration enough. It takes all of us and all of our work across the community and our schools and our districts and our board and everybody to provide the best for our students. So these three goals I'm constantly referring back to in all of our meetings and all of our communications. And I'm just very thankful that you all were willing to come in a little early tonight to review the strategic plan. We're going to have an open dialogue. This is fairly open-ended, not super formal. It's a lot of Q&A about the different goals and about the strategies within the goals. And with that, we're going to jump right into number one, and then I'm going to pause so that maybe some of our leadership out here might want to emphasize a few things within our goal number one. Maybe some of you have some questions about goal number one. This is a great time to just have an open dialogue. And again, the whole purpose of this first hour of our workshop is just to have a better understanding of our strategic plan, make sure that we're very clear about how we use it, and just to have an open discussion about it so you're comfortable referring back to it from time to time. So with that, we're in goal number one, improved wellness and safety. If anybody has any questions or wants to highlight any part of this, any of the strategies underneath.
I was just curious about the Zen Den. Isn't that, does that conflict of separation of church and state?
Zen Den, can maybe someone from leadership talk a little bit about that? Yeah. Okay.
Elementary and really it is counselors whole class with each grade level every couple weeks or so, but they focus in on the zones of regulation of understanding when I'm mad, this is how I feel, and this is the way I can respond appropriately, and this is when I'm happy, this is the appropriate response for that. Well, social skills, I'm frustrated with a friend, how do I get along with that? And books that go along with that as well. So really, as far as the church and state, that is not.
Well, I guess I was referring more to the name Zen.
Yeah, so the Zen Den at the high school place in our guidance talk where students can sign up to go with their struggle.
Right, I understand what it is. It's the name I have a problem with.
And don't we have these in the elementary school? Yeah. Okay.
Well, because it rhymes, I get it.
Exactly. For the, it does represent the truth of what's going on.
Great way to have personal space.
I don't have a problem with them having a corner. I just think that when you get comfortable with the name and then you can get introduced to another part of it and it was okay here and oh, I don't know how to explain it so much, but it is a religious philosophy.
Something we can do is we can do some research on some other possible names that could be used for this, this time of day for students. And we could report back at the next, regular board meeting in October with some other possible names, and we could, at that time, this board could collectively make a suggestion of a different name to use. And we can simply go through, and everywhere the term then is, we could swap it out with something else if that
And,
works.
and
Okay.
okay.
Yeah.
And I like the idea that there's a place to go and all
Sure.
that. I'm not, that's not my issue or my question.
Understand. So does that work for you, Michelle? If we
Yeah.
bring back some other names? Okay. So we can do that for next
Have
month.
we had
Bring back-
anybody question us on that name before? Okay.
Other than that, I thought everything that I read about it and this thing is great. I think, because kids need, you know, and then the other thing is, you know, as being an educator, it's so easy to enable too. You know, we want to empower, not always enable, right?
What
There-
is zones of regulation? The zones of regulation for elementary, what is that? Okay, okay,
And being able to relate that, maybe that with language versus here,
okay.
and then, okay, after, nothing wrong.
Totally was thinking something different. Like, I'm not sure. Okay, thank you.
This is a special week. I know at our high school, we have something going on called the Hope Week, right? Okay. Oh, okay, great. Great. Okay.
Yeah, both squad is, I think, high school now. We're gonna go that on October. Here, right, really trying to reach out to each other. Look for, you know, maybe potential students that are having difficulty, reach out to them. I think it really aligns well with the foundation work. You know, check Wednesday, but yeah, they do a lot of different activities in building, and student led.
Mhm.
Another, you know, exercise to try to check on each other. While it does have a component around suicide awareness, we educate our students about those signs, great information, not just a certain group of students, variety of students, not just say athletes checking on athletes. It's also some of our students that are different activities.
Mhm.
Different, maybe they're not in activities. They're the students that are in our school and they don't maybe have folks to connect with. So it's nice that students will talk to each other a lot more than sometimes they'll talk to adults. So it's nice to have them have a lot to reach out. Yeah, I think Danny will be here to tell us a little bit more about that. I just on video last week. So we're excited to also bring that into our building. Really like that's happening. You know, we have kids that are big in those that
Yeah.
outlets. Really, we're not asking our students to be counselors or be mental health providers. We're asking them to be useful. So if you're needing something, let me get in touch with someone that can help. Or I recognize that you're having a big moment, let me go find someone who can maybe check up. I think that's important that we're not hoping that our kids are gonna go and solve all the problems, but
Yeah.
we need to check them.
And I think that's, is that all right if I talk?
Sure, of course.
When I was in, confidentiality is my biggest concern with that, with the kids. When I've been in school, you know, because I was there, we'd all hear about things, even though they only told one other person, you know. That's my, you know, I know we emphasize it, but that's what we need to do. And then I don't know, do the kids vote? Are the kids gonna vote who they trust in their, I mean, how are you gonna pick the kids? To be the- Okay,
They talk about. And share. But they also are not told that this is information. Sharing that they're pretty, they do a lot of work around kind of, someone's gonna trust you with that confidence.
when I was teaching, the kids voted, you know, like they would vote on who they thought they could trust or something. And then it ended up being a more of a oh, they really liked it. You know what I mean? And then
This is more general.
good, okay.
Kind of being aware, building, noticing it, or that.
Thanks.
Before we move on to the next goal area, I do want to mention, though, the J Foundation did a lot of presentations at our high school just the other day, and it was outstanding. I was able to participate in that work as well, and the students, it was very well received by our senior students. Just want to say that's an outstanding program and a great opportunity for our seniors to really be dedicated to checking in with each other on every Wednesday in our high school is Boot Check Wednesday.
I
So-
was just gonna say, maybe we should add that to the list of programs,
add
the
which
Boot
part?
Check Wednesday.
Boot Check Wednesday.
Mhm.
Okay. Anything else on the goal number 1 before moving on to goal number 2? Okay, JR is going to move us on to goal number 2. There we go. This goal is all about improving student achievement. There are a lot of academic strategies and action steps throughout this goal listed here. This is actually a pretty broad goal, a very important goal in our work here. And we have some very nice Y-top scores and some accreditation reporting to do later on this evening. I'm very excited about that. But if anyone from our team wants to highlight any part of that during this workshop, you're welcome to. But also we can talk a little bit about maybe some of the nuanced interventions and things that we do within our buildings to make sure that our students are well prepared for learning all of the state standards that then is reflected when they do take the Y-top scores in the springtime. So curriculum development and implementation is strategy number 1. And I think you all know, and if you don't, we did a huge amount of research and development around a curriculum in math specifically. And Houghton Mifflin was the awarded provider for that curriculum. We've talked extensively about that work in the springtime. I think it was a February board meeting I was listening to before I was actually hired on here. When I was doing my research, I was listening to both Alan and Anne Marie talk about this curriculum and all of the positives that it would bring to our schools. Since then, they've done an amazing amount of great work providing professional development all through August, getting all of our teachers ready, making sure all the materials were in place, making sure everybody understood how to implement these tools and use the curriculum across the district. In addition to that, I've been able to participate in a couple of IF meetings, as those are instructional facilitators that we have at each of the elementary schools. And then Ms. Hooten comes down from the LMS, from the Lincoln Middle School, to join those conversations. And those are the real in-depth conversations around the real nitty-gritty of how are these tools being implemented in every grade level, every subject, well, English, language arts, and math in those subject areas. What is that looking like? What are the challenges? What needs to be worked on? So those are very robust Friday meetings. For the most part, it's on Fridays when I get invited to those, and it's good to dive deep into the curriculum. So that was a great purchase on behalf of the district. So thank you for doing that. It created alignment across all of our elementaries and our middle school, creating an outstanding foundation of learning for the students so that they get that solid foundation and we can support across the district quite easily. Also, then if a student moves from school to school, which happens, we have roughly 37% of our students that have moved between elementary schools, and that's where they move across town, they go to a different school. So it's the same curriculum. So it's not a whole new curriculum just because they move 2 miles across town. So that helps there as well. So there's no loss of learning with our students moving around the town. And it really helps us align our supports through the IFs and ourselves supporting the schools and the teachers with the implementation of the curriculum. And all of this builds up to quality outcomes for our kids. So I'm very impressed that this district made the big purchase, the research, and made the big purchase, and a 5-year commitment. Very important. Anytime you're implementing new curriculum, don't just do 1 year, 2 year. It can take years to really get the momentum and get moving forward with a new curriculum. So 5 years is a good first start with a new curriculum.
Now, when does our actual accreditation process, has it started? Is it over?
Help.
You were louder with that.
Thought he'd help you out.
Yeah.
You might have to just go to the podium.
So we have started that work. Alan and Dr. Cooper and I began some of that legwork of getting ready for the accreditation, the peer review that will come in. It will officially take place on September 30th and October 1st. We'll have a team of probably about 6, 8, 10 folks from around the state. Our team lead is Joel Dvorak, a retired superintendent from Casper, I believe, is where he is out of. And we've been having meetings with him, kind of preparing and getting things ready. Dr. Demery has done an amazing job of giving us a shell and a framework through a slideshow presentation to really walk us through the 14 points that they want us to hit, everything from governance to leadership. So we may be tapping into some of you as well to come join us and share our story and share the narrative that is happening here in Sweetwater 2 and the amazing work that is going on. They'll also visit the school. So we've just been going through that process and getting ready for them here in the next few weeks.
Remind me again, is that every year or how often do we have? Every 5?
It's
Okay.
every 5 years that they
Okay.
do come on site
Okay.
and visit us.
It's a big deal, and without the work that these guys have done, could have been a problem. So
I think it's working now, but just to add to what Anne Marie and I think to dovetail off of what Tom was mentioning is our instructional facilitators have done just an incredible amount of work on preparing the tool for how does it align with our priority standards, because the last several years our teachers have done a really nice job understanding what is it that our students need to know to be able to accomplish these great scores that we're going to cover tonight on the Y-Top. And we don't want to lose sight of that just because we have a new tool that's coming in. We know it's mucky, right? Anytime you bring something new in, you've got to learn how to use it, and how is it going to meet those needs of each of our students. And so our teachers are kind of, going through that process, but our instructional coaches on the back end have been really outlining, hey, this module here, cover this one in depth. This one here doesn't, touch on the standards as much for Wyoming students. And so we're not going to, cover this one as much, but then aligning it to assessments and aligning it to, how can we measure those proficiencies as we go through. So they really deserve a lot of credit because, that's work that's being done. I mean, it's kind of like flying the, building the plane as you're flying it. And then they're able to meet with their teams at each building, kind of explain to them, all right, here's where we go next, and then reflect, what went well, what didn't go well. And I think this year we knew was going to be, kind of a challenging year because it's brand new for the teachers, brand new for the IFs, not forgetting what skills we want our kids to know, right? Those haven't changed. But learning this new tool that is going to align it across all of our schools, and then really providing a common assessment across those elementaries as well, so that we can see, are there areas that we need to improve on or provide additional support. And so that's been really fun to watch those instructional coaches take that leadership role. And even though they have autonomy from each of their schools, each school has a little bit different culture, and we'll kind of see that in our results tonight. But it's, through their conversations, through that work, they're aligning it themselves to where there is that consistency. They're understanding that we should really be in the same spots, fairly similar from one module to the next. So we don't create gaps between our schools. And then when they all end up at the middle school, then we know that they've had exposure to the same content, same skills, trying to target the same standards. And so we're really excited for their work, and they deserve a lot of credit. Anne-Marie, well, I don't want to speak for Anne-Marie, she does a lot, but I think my role is really just to get them, to corral them into the same direction and saying, okay, what else do you need from us? What red tape can we remove? What, those types of things. And they have taken it and ran, and I feel like our teachers believe that they're supported from that aspect. Are they overwhelmed? Absolutely, right? It's the beginning of the school year. That in itself is overwhelming. But then you bring on a new tool. Some of them have taken it on for math and ELA. That's a lot of work. And so we're giving them grace. We're asking folks to give them grace as they kind of go through that process. But we're also not expecting lesser scores or lesser performance. Like, our expectations are still up here, and their own expectations for their students are also still up here. And I think that, we'll get a chance to talk about all those performances during our regular school board meeting. And you'll see that we have a very competitive staff. I think that they want those scores to show all the hard work that they do. And none of them, I believe, is going to be okay if that dips down just because we brought in a new tool. So we're excited about that, and a lot of different intervention tools. I know that Dr. Cooper mentioned those different pieces as well. And we brought in UFly to bring a foundation of our phonics because we knew that was something our kids really struggled with from our data and interviews with our teachers. And so that's consistent across all 4 elementaries now. We've already seen some really good results from that in the last couple of years. But also intervention tools for our special education staff, our interventionists, Title I, all of those different resources that they can go. And now that we're responding to student learning based on how they're performing, we can see this student's missing these skills, then that's the skills we can address, right? We're not just going to go take them out, put them in this room over here. We don't know exactly what they're working on. It's so targeted that we're just closing those little gaps that the student might have, and then getting them back into that classroom so that they're exposed to all of the great instruction that happens in our classroom. So that practice is really evident, I think, across all levels. Our high school also has a great intervention system. We've got a variety of courses that students can take to target those skill levels. We know that certain students are going to need additional help. We've got variety of tiered kind of coursework, which I think is really shown towards our graduation rate. We don't want to be the gatekeepers that keeps the student from graduating because they can't meet, certain high standards, when in reality, they're going to go into the workforce and they need a different set of skills. And so we've really tried to expand our courses at the high school and tailor them to our student needs, what they've shared with us, what their performance has shared. And I think the high school's done a really nice job. changed our way of interventions through our WIN period. I know that many of you were familiar. We used to have Wednesday afternoons. They got out early, but then they had to come in on that Wednesday. They knew that that wasn't working. The kids were telling us it wasn't working. Teachers were frustrated. So they've revamped that entire piece. And in the last several weeks, I know it's already been a success for many of our teachers where they get to see kids now on a daily basis. And right at the end of the day, there's an intervention period. Kids that are doing well can have a half hour, 45 minutes before their activities or they're done for the day. But kids that need that extra help can see the teacher that day or the day after. They don't have to wait a week, wait till Wednesdays. They're not competing for that teacher's time. So we've already seen some success with that, but yeah, that hopefully gives you a little bit more context to that.
Strategy number 2 talks about the development and implementation of district assessment systems. The nice thing is that we're keeping all of those the same as they have been. So we've switched the curriculum out and aligned the curriculum across multiple schools. We'll keep all these assessments the same to compare apples to apples from past years to these future years as we implement with a new curriculum across the board. Then strategy number 3 is improving instructional practice through the use of professional learning communities, PLCs. Does anybody want to share out a little bit about PLCs? Or I guess you've shared a little bit on that. It's more the ifs and the principals or instructional leaders within the buildings, and they're holding these PLCs. In fact, I was walking through the high school today around lunchtime, and it wasn't lunchtime for everybody because I found a department that was sitting in a PLC with their assistant principal discussing and strategizing how their curriculum material was being implemented and what they're seeing already as the start of the school year's starting up there in that department. And so that was nice to see that in motion. I've sat in on some, one at the middle school, listened in a little bit there. These are those really thoughtful, deep dive professional discussions around the tools we're using, the assessments we're receiving, the data from the assessments we're getting back, and anything else under the sun that we can discuss to improve our practice at each of these schools. These PLC opportunities are usually led by the principal and or the instructional facilitator, and usually lead teachers as well. Great opportunities built into every week in every school, so that they have constant opportunities for continuous improvement with their teaching practices. Community partnerships, strategy number 5. This is partnerships right here. We're talking about Southwest manufacturing partnerships. Right off on number 1, the first bullet right there. That's a group that I've been working with since I got here. In fact, I started back in May before I was officially on board. I was invited to one of their collaborative meetings. It's a group of industry partners, and they meet in Rock Springs every month, and they're constantly trying to expand and create opportunities for students to get work-based learning opportunities in all of our businesses and industries throughout the southwest corner of the state here. So that's what the bulk of our conversations are around. How can we create these opportunities? Things like mentorship programs or opportunities where industry partners can come into our high schools to talk with the students about what the work looks like, how to prepare for the work. But then also to partner with us through memorandums of understanding, the MOUs, the agreements that we have with these businesses so that we can safely collaborate with them for our students then to get that work experience out in the field. It's a great opportunity. And as you might remember, last year we had 24 students participating in work-based learning in the spring semester. All of those students then had opportunities to continue on with those companies and in addition continue their learning into WWCC, our Western Wyoming Community College opportunities. So great opportunity for the students. With 24, that's a good start. We're growing. This fall was a little bit of a slower start, just full transparency there. The fall semester just by nature is. The spring semester is going to be much bigger. That's the nature of a senior year. You're wanting to make sure you get all those final classes taken care of. So there's a handful, I'm not sure of the exact number. I want to say it's single digits, maybe 10 students participating in work-based learning now through some of these partnerships like with Southwest Manufacturing Partners. And then there's going to be much more in the spring. So we'll have larger numbers than we saw last year for that work. Any thoughts or questions about we've got great collaboration with our Green River Police Department. I could speak to that too. We have 2 SROs, outstanding SROs in our buildings. One is housed at the high school nearly all the day, and the next one's at the middle school. Some of them, they also will spot check on our elementary schools, but their home bases are in our 2 secondary level schools where you have the majority of the students and the majority of the possible needs for our SROs there. So we do have a partnership with the police department where we do pay for half of those salary benefit packages of the total cost of each officer. So in a sense, we're paying for one whole one, and they provide one whole one. And that's an example of a partnership with our local police department where it's a financial partnership as well. And what we receive are 2 full-time officers all day long, every day that school's in session, which is really outstanding. In fact, a couple of times I've tried to meet with them, and they say, please come on over. I'm at this school or that school. And I've said, of course, let me meet you in the school. So they're always on the school grounds. That's the goal, is to keep them there where the kids are. And so we're safe and secure. Let's see. Anything else on here under community partnerships? Anybody wants to, or any part of this goal before we go on to number 3?
Sorry,
Yes.
I was just thinking, and I don't know if this is the right time to ask, but I was wondering if all the Western classes, the dual enrollment, are they all academic, or can you take some of the welding or some of the hands-on things?
You can actually get more credit hours in welding than
Yeah.
just about anything else in
Yeah.
our school. You can get
Yep.
9 credit hours.
Okay, I was just curious.
Do you
about
want to
that.
answer that, Dan? You've got
That's-
practice there.
Yeah,
with that.
it's both. We have the auto teacher certified, I think the food ladies, the food, yeah, one that teaches food at the high school.
Culinary arts.
Culinary,
Yep.
there you go, that's
Yep.
the word I'm looking for. She's certified. Metals, I think Cassidy's got some classes he has, if I remember correctly, a buildings class.
I guess I was thinking about the EA kids, like if we do something different and try to encourage them,
Yes.
they probably don't want to go back to the high school, or I'm just,
But-
I just.
But you're right, they could for a class, especially if it was a concurrent enrollment opportunity with WWCC and it was something like welding that they're interested in. And we've got a great teacher who's an adjunct professor at our high school providing that class for graduation credit, but also for a college credit. And most importantly, they learn the skills they need to learn and the industry certificates they need for the job. That's a great example of where we can put, the EA students can easily walk over to the high school for that class. It's
you
so
might wanna
close.
stay a little.
And maybe they'll stay a little longer. We have talked a little bit about Expedition Academy and possibly providing more of these work-based learning opportunities for the students so they don't just graduate early and they're 17 years old and they have a diploma and then there's in some cases still not necessarily employable, so we're thinking about how do we provide more opportunities for them so during that senior year while they're still in our school system they could take full advantage of every opportunity we have, so we set them up for major successes upon graduations instead of allowing that early graduation at 16, 17. I mean, unless that's very purposeful and they really have a real need to graduate early. Sure, there's some cases like that, but I think there's also cases where we could fill out that high school career for them and make sure they leave with graduation and some industry credentials and some experience, job
I
opportunities.
know that we've had a lot of EA kids take welding.
Mhm.
It's just a schedule issue.
Yeah.
Getting them there because our classes are shorter than their classes.
Yep.
It's an issue of.
We are having collaborative conversations with EA leadership, the high school leadership, both Alan, Anne Marie, and myself, coming up later this month because we want to talk about making sure we're being very purposeful and very meaningful with all that we're providing at our alternative high school so that those students are graduating very well prepared. We have currently, I think, 36 students in that school. So, and a lot of hands on deck there to help, so to speak, good staffing ratio. So we should be able to provide some really good wraparound services and make sure that they get everything they need to be super prepared beyond high school and be very employable into living wage career jobs and not just minimum wage gig work and that kind of thing. Should we move on to communication? Yeah, no, that's great. We can move on to communication number 3. We're right on schedule. Everyone's doing great here, about 20 minutes per goal. Keep up the pace here, guys. So number 3, this is my favorite favorite goal. And this is one that I bring up more often than I think anybody ever wants to hear me say this. Again, this communication and collaboration. Almost every opportunity, every department, every school, every community partnership, this is a goal that we can continue to keep expanding our efforts on. I have yet to work in a system where you've over communicated. You just need to do as much communication as you think you need to do for all of these initiatives and all of this great work we're doing across the district, and then you do a little bit more. And that is your bar for communication. And collaboration is very important. We collaborate with all kinds of partnerships across this community, across the state, not just within our district. So the collaboration effort is huge. And through that collective collaboration, we're able to provide these outstanding programs for the students. Communication, something that we've done recently is I've done a lot of work. So the neat thing for me is coming from the outside, a fresh set of eyes on this district. I'm able to look at everything for the first time and see things that maybe others had overlooked because you've seen it for 10 years, 20 years. Some of the things I saw right away, especially looking from some distance away, getting ready to move here, was I was looking at the website constantly, and I was a little bit like, I've seen other websites that maybe could be a little more user friendly. So as you look at this website, you'll see several places where I've been working with JR and others to make sure, I think Gene as well, to make sure that we've got things in place on the website so it's a little clearer, like our strategic plan. So it's very clear. Later on, you're going to actually see the mugshots of the teachers and the principals. When you go to the staff page, it'll look more friendly and inviting because it'll have the happy face of the teacher, second grade, and their work email. So if you're a parent and you're looking for that teacher, you can't quite remember their name, but you know they're in your son's school, and you can scroll through and go, oh yeah, there they are. I'm going to send them that email. I got a question about a field trip coming up or something like that.
Shopping in Rock Springs.
Yeah, I saw
Now that they know your face.
So it just makes it more friendly. It makes your website more personable when you actually have some smiling faces on there and some direct email connections and desk phones, things like that. Thank you, JR, by the way. He's connected all of our desk phones to our emails. It's really nice because now we can quickly see the message pops up on our screen, so we can see if it's like urgent and we got to leave the meeting, or if it's like, okay, I can get to that later, or, oh, I'm just going to forward that on to the person that needs that message. It really saves us with a lot of our communication, saves time, gets quicker answers back to parents that are calling in so that we don't have to wait for us to get back to our desk. I know everyone complains I'm never in my office because I'm out and about in the schools and all these other opportunities and community events and whatnot. And so now that it lands on my desk phone, it shows up here, it shows up on my phone, so I can respond faster. I don't have to wait till I get back to my desk phone to see if I have a message.
Well, I like that the emails were added because I know sometimes people have, have had a hard time. I mean, it's pretty easy if you know how it works, but if you don't know how it works, then they're like, I don't know how to get a hold of them. So.
So I think with that, if I'm going to jump in here for a second and practice our communication piece, I know you probably noticed something that looks a little bit different on our other business on our agenda tonight. We have a lot of policies.
Yes, we do.
We have a lot, and we're going through the D policies, and we talked a little bit about this at Super 8, but I just kind of wanted to share a little bit with you about this and get your thoughts if this is something we want to continue to do this way. So you will see there's the consideration under 9.05 through, and it's 9.05R. These policies, after visiting more with Brian Farmer with the Wyoming School Board Association, we talked to him about this. These are policies we currently have with very little revisions and updates that have taken place. And there's a couple I want to highlight when we talked during the board meeting. But what can happen is instead of me coming up there and reading each one and getting a motion and a second and approving each one, we don't necessarily have to do that. We can, if the board chooses to go that way, or we can do them in this condensed form, kind of like you do the consent agenda, where it's all on there and we can approve them all in one shot. And you will have seen them obviously ahead of time, and you can kind of see where adjustments have been made or tweaks have been done, or we're just bringing up a practice that we've been doing and making it and moving it into policy, because some of these hadn't been updated for almost 50 years. So we're kind of catching up with a few of those. So I just kind of wanted to explain that or answer any questions that you might have on that larger section. And you'll see like 9.06 and 7. 7 is a similar way, but I'll read 9.06 and then the new policies. We'll go through those as a first reading and approve each one of those individually. Questions?
I like the idea of doing that. The only one thing I would suggest is, because we have so many here and go, like, if we have some that have some major revisions, I think we need to point those out.
Yep.
Because you're right, ahead of time, we get them, we can read through them, whatever, but I like that idea, especially when you have 40 policies you're trying to go through.
Absolutely. And
But maybe just the ones that we might have a ton of revisions
Yeah.
on, we might want to just hit those and then like the new ones you said. But
absolutely.
I like that idea.
Do you want my question now?
Go ahead.
Okay,
Go
I'm
for it.
sorry. On page 141. Just because it make the purchase with lowest cost vendor, you know, sometimes that's junk. That's all I wanted to say.
Okay.
I don't
On
like
the-
that, you know, because I mean,
On the
when-
procurement methods.
you
yeah.
know, because I used to go through, when I first started teaching, I'd have a stapler for like 10 years or something. And then at the end, I had not 10 a year, but 2 or 3 in a year. And it was like,
You want to ensure you're getting good quality for the
yeah,
money we're
not just the
paying. Yep.
cheapest. Is
No.
that a terrible thing? I mean,
And I think, oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think we could even just add that at the lowest cost vendor that meets the specifications or whatever.
you know, just
And
so we're
then
not,
that gives you that leeway to be like, well, this one's gonna fall apart. So that's a no, but
I think exactly, you're exactly right on that. And I know as I've talked to a few people that go through this process, that they need to ensure that we're being very clear of what we've asked for and that that is the quality we're getting in that
Right.
bid or that quote that we're having there. Absolutely, Michelle, I agree.
And you raise a good point, Michelle. Later tonight in the board meeting, we do have a proposal that we are recommending for approval that was not the lowest bid because it's a higher quality proposal and they're offering more for just a little bit more funding. And so through our facilities committee with Daniel and others on that committee, that was the recommendation coming out of that. And that's going to be later in tonight's board meeting, but you're exactly right. That's a great example. Just,
well, the ones were over 50,000, they
Mhm.
do say that, and you can
oh, I
get
see,
the,
I see. what
and
you're
get
saying.
the, they didn't say references, but you know, past work record or
Gotcha.
whatever. So
Gotcha.
that's important because, you know, sometimes quality, yeah.
Yeah.
Even if they're local.
Something else while we're talking about communication here is we are about to start up our calendar committee work. And that's going to be a lot of fun later this month. We actually are going to start next Wednesday night. And some of you are on the calendar committee. And yeah, not right here. I was pointing a little past you. My point to bringing this up is we've launched a bunch of surveys out to students and staff and parents, right, and community to get a bunch of information back. And we have thousands, I believe. I saw 2,500 from one group and other large numbers. We have a lot of survey information back. The neat thing is we're going to be able to build graphs with that and present that at the first calendar committee so you can see and the calendar committee so you can see the responses of what people are looking for. Later on tonight, we're going to talk about calendar committee and hopefully get a chance to review some of the criteria that has been used in the past, because that's going to be a great opportunity later on tonight to emphasize what criteria you really want to see with our future calendars. For example, aligning the spring break with WWCC seems to come up as a very big priority, right? So I hear that a lot. Ending the semester at Christmas time. I hear that a lot. So those are just things that we might hear a lot through the surveys and through our discussions later on tonight. But that work starts next week, and I'm very hopeful that by the November board meeting, we'll be able to bring forward some draft calendars for this board to approve one of them. And we're going to try for 3 years. That's another piece that we're going to try for, so we can get 3 years worth of approvals in one meeting in November, if we're so lucky.
I served my time on
Yeah.
the calendar committee.
Yeah. Did you?
Anybody that serves on the calendar committee needs like a merit badge.
Okay.
That's a tough place to be.
How is that committee selected?
Okay, good point.
Out of all the big group?
So within the criteria that's in your board packet, it lists all the different types of representation that we're shooting for. Obviously, leadership throughout the, because a leader from each department, transportation, nutrition, leadership you see here tonight, as well as school representation from the certified staff, from the classified staff, so teachers, as well as paraprofessionals. There's students on the committee as well. There's parents that'll be on the committee. So when we get all those names, so we've asked for names of people who are interested in those groups. Everyone who's a leader, I just said you're coming to the meeting. Principals, please, you got to be here because we need your input on these calendars. But all those optional folks,
Yeah.
we are going to put their names in a hat and draw them out and say, okay, we need 5 teachers in elementary. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, let's invite them to the meeting. We need 5 from secondary or something like that. We need so many from the classified group. Let's pull them out of a hat. That's how I've been informed that this has been done in the past. Try and make it as fair as possible because you're right. There's going to be dozens and dozens of people interested in the calendar committee, but we can only take 5 or so from each group.
So did like
we'll have about-
parents just send
Yeah.
you an email and say, hey, I'd like to
Yeah.
be part of this?
It was
Okay.
part of that survey that went out. We were asking if you're interested, let us know. So tomorrow morning, we actually sit down with this calendar team here at Central that's getting all the logistics ready for the first meeting. We're going to take all the information we get from all of you tonight, the criteria that's set here tonight. We're taking it to that meeting. We're taking all the surveys, bringing that to the table, and we're going to build an agenda and preparation for that first meeting. The very first calendar meeting is all about just getting information out and not a whole lot of discussion about moving dates here and there, but all the requirements from the state, the number of days, the amount of hours, which holidays have we represented in the past, which ones, all those discussions. Here you go. Here's all the information. And then come back in 2 weeks. That'll be our next calendar meeting with ideas.
Okay.
And then that's the workshop one, that second one where we're going to be crunching the days and moving them this way or that way to see if we can adjust things so that everyone finishes out on a happy note with the calendar committee. That's coming up here real soon. Yeah. Was there anything else with communication that we wanted to highlight? I know later on, we're going to be discussing the discretionary fund practices and procedures that the board is going to be discussing. And we actually have our first application request for some of those funds. That'll be discussed later on tonight. Anything else that's
I think we're probably good. Maybe we just take a little break.
okay?
So,
Sounds good. Thank you.
thank you. Ahead and call this meeting to order. Could I ask the FFA to lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry, I sprung that on you, but we appreciate it. Okay. Do I have to do a roll call?
Yeah. Well, haven't you done that in the past?
Uh-uh.
Oh, okay, then. You can sign.
Well, we just would like to excuse Tate today. He is away on business. Next, we'll move to public comments. Now is the appropriate time for visitors in the audience to be recognized and to speak on items both on the agenda and of general concerns to the patrons of the Green River Schools. There will be a limit of 3 minutes for an individual and 5 minutes for a group spokesperson. No speaker shall speak more than twice on any issue. The board is legally obligated to maintain confidentiality concerning district personnel, and therefore matters concerning district personnel will not be discussed. I believe first we have. Oh, okay, go ahead.
Good evening, Dr. Superintendent Dr. Cooper, Madam Castilian, and the members of the board. I'm going to say thank you for the last minute be able to be up here. I just wanted to talk to you about our Hope Week. We are in the middle of our 3rd annual Hope Week for the Hope Squad at the high school. And so our theme this year is Together We Thrive. We are trying to focus on small, genuine connections to promote mental health wellness and strengthen our connections with one another with focusing on suicide prevention. And so we wanted to talk to you guys about the events we're doing this week, as well as invite anybody to come and check them out. Tonight, actually at 6:30, we're doing our Hope Boxes. And then tomorrow night, we are partnering with the Jays Foundation that will be up after to do a swing dancing. So come and learn swing dancing. And then on Thursday, we're doing a pottery night in our studio at the high school. We have different lunch events as well, but just wanting to check out, we're promoting those activities, talking about mental health. And so I wanted to challenge you guys to, and member of the community, to take a minute this week to focus on your mental health and be able to figure out how you can be a part of the conversation. So thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to be here and talk about Hope Squad.
Thank you. And thanks
Thank
for
you.
all of your hard work.
And I have flyers I can leave at the door if you guys want some of those.
Thank you.
Thank you.
At this time, first of all, good evening, Madam Castilian, Dr. Cooper, Superintendent, and Board of Trustees. At this time, I'd like to call Mary Flum up to the podium for a few minutes. After 32 years of loyal dedication to Sweetwater County School District Number 2, many of you know this will be Mary's last board meeting as an employee. She's always welcome every Tuesday, the second Tuesday of the month, to come join us if you have nothing going on. But of those 32 years, 18 of those years have been just serving as a remarkable executive board secretary. We celebrate your career, Mary, defined by integrity, excellence, and your heart. Your steady leadership, your gracious professionalism, and tireless attention to detail have shaped countless meetings. How many meetings, Mary? Supported generations of students and staff, and strengthened our district's mission every single day. We thank you for being the keeper of history and the friendly voice that keeps us moving forward. As you step into retirement, know that your legacy lives on and the work that you do and the people you've inspired. We wish you good health, joy, and all the adventures that you've earned. Congratulations on your retirement. We have one more thing for you, Mary. Both falling off, Mary. Thank you, Mary. And Mary, the plaque was built by a student here as well. Thank you, Mary.
Thank you, Mary, for all that you do for us and keep us in line as a board. Next, we will move on to, oh, do I have any other public comments? Sorry, I'm just moving ahead. Okay, we'll go ahead and move on then. Recognition of Liz Toman as Teacher Con 25 Community Partnership Award. Ms. Nelson.
Chairman Castillion, Superintendent Cooper, members of the board. It's my honor tonight to recognize Mrs. Liz Toman for an award that she received from the Wyoming Department of Education in partnership with the University of Wyoming College of Education. This year, they hosted the TeacherCon 25, which was Wyoming's inaugural statewide educator conference. Several awards were given to exceptional teachers throughout the state, and the awards committee selected Elizabeth Toman to receive the Community Partnership Award for teachers or schools collaborating with local businesses. Mrs. Toman is well-deserving. She has demonstrated exceptional initiative in developing a comprehensive work-based learning program at Green River High School. She's enabled students to earn academic credit through partnerships with local businesses. This innovative program empowers students to explore career interests through job shadowing and volunteer experiences, which culminate in a work-based capstone project. Aligned with the competencies outlined in Wyoming's profile of a graduate, the initiative fosters real-world skills and meaningful learning opportunities. On May 9th of this year, Mrs. Toman shared her program during a breakout session at the Ride Celebration of Learning in Riverton, and she inspired other districts to explore similar models. Feedback from students participating in the program reflects a renewed enthusiasm for learning, increased class attendance, and a greater sense of purpose in their educational journey. The program has also strengthened communication and collaboration between the school and local businesses, creating mutually beneficial opportunities. As education continues to evolve, this model exemplifies how community integration can reimagine student engagement. Mrs. Toman's work addresses the needs of today's learners, cultivating essential skills, sparking excitement in learning, and preparing students to become successful and contributing members of society. So we just like to honor her for her award from the state.
Congratulations. Well deserved. Next, Liz Toman will recognize the GRHS FFA state winners.
Madam Chair, Superintendent Cooper, Board of Trustees, thank you again for allowing us the opportunity to recognize our FFA chapter's accomplishment, not only at the state fair in Douglas, but also for the National FFA Convention that we have qualified for. Tonight, I have with me 4 of our FFA officers to share these results with you. You will also see on your agenda that we have requested discretionary funds and a BOCES grant to help fund our trip to compete at National Convention later in October.
Madam Chair, Superintendent Cooper, and Board of Trustees. My name is Maddie Homan, and I am the chapter secretary. Our chapter has been named top 10 finalists in the National FFA Growing Leaders Award Program for our Sensory Kids project last year. This honor recognizes chapters across the nation that excel at developing student leadership skills, personal growth, and career readiness. Being selected as a finalist places our chapter among the very best in the country and highlights the dedication of our students to living out the values of FFA. This achievement reflects the commitment of our members to become strong leaders who make a positive impact in our school, community, and the future of agriculture. We will have the opportunity to compete by giving a presentation about our sensory kit project at the National Convention in October.
Madam Chair, Superintendent Cooper, Board of Trustees. My name is Colby Brownlee, and I am the chapter vice president. This year at the Wyoming State Fair, several of our Green River FFA members placed in the top 10 in their events. This success highlights not only their individual dedication and skills, but also the strength of our agriculture program in preparing students to excel. We are proud to celebrate their accomplishments in positive way they represented our school and community at the state level. These students are Tacey Fox and Molly Stan showing goats, Dawson Bernard showing pigs, Taylor Hernandez showing horses, and Lucy Stanton showing goats and poultry. Each of these individuals placed within the top 10 of their classes, and Tacey Fox had the reserve champion of breeding doe.
Madam Chair, Superintendent Cooper, and Board of Trustees. My name is Antonio Plancarte, and I am the chapter president. Green River FFA is proud to be recognized as a 3-star national chapter, the highest honor a chapter can receive at the national level. This award places us among the top FFA programs in the country and reflects the hard work, leadership, and dedication of our students and advisors. Earning this distinction shows that our chapter is providing well-rounded opportunities for members in the areas of growing leaders, building communities, and strengthening agriculture. This recognition not only highlights the success of students, but also demonstrates the positive impacts of our program is having on our school and community. We will be recognized on stage at the National FFA Convention in October for this award. Thank you.
Congratulations. Next we have Dr. Cooper with Give Me a Break drawing.
All right. This is my first time doing this, so we'll see how it goes. From what I understand, I'm going to draw a name out of this fishbowl here, and these are all of our employees in our district. And the name I draw, they get a break. Not only a break, they get the whole day off. So I know, what a deal. I said, how about that? The students probably want their names in here too as well. Get the whole day off, okay? And it doesn't count against your sick leave in the district. So that's important to note too. And I will come and help with your class. If it's a classroom teacher, if you're a principal, that's an easy one. I've done that recently. And if you're in grounds, that might be a little harder. Mr. Hamill, I might need your help there. But I definitely want to help out and help our staff have a break. Okay, so let's see who we get here. Daniel Parsons. All right, he's a teacher in biology chemistry at EA. Okay, so I don't know about subbing in his class with all the snakes and reptiles in there. I might need some help there, Mr. Obrey. Might need some help with that one. Maybe I'll trade you that one. But congratulations.
That's a good one. All right. Next we have the J Foundation Student Ambassadors.
Madam Chair, Dr. Cooper, and Board of Trustees, we thank you for allowing us to be here to talk about the foundation. If you don't know about the foundation, it's about this guy named Jay Bing. Jay grew up in Pinedale, Wyoming, and loved to fish, spend time outdoors, be on the boat, and hang out with his friends and family. Jay was an amazing country swing dancer and loved his cowboy boots. In 2016, Jay took his own life in what was a shock to everyone that knew him. At his funeral, full of people from walks of life were wearing their cowboy boots. There was not just a commitment made, that was something good, that something good was going to come from this tragedy. That good was brought to the life through the J Foundation, a foundation that is bold, inclusive, nimble, and generous. Our goal is to raise awareness for mental health and suicide prevention, along with providing healing for those that have lost loved ones. We do this through a simple platform that Jay loves so much, cowboy boots. With every pair of cowboy boots comes a conversation that would have never happened, a boot check moment that we all need. While many think Jay's story ended in 2016, our hope is that in many ways it was just the beginning. We hope over the coming weeks, months, and years, you are able to feel the impact of the Jay Foundation and get to know Jay a little better yourself. So we're here to talk about what these boots mean to us. And Garen and I had the opportunity to go to the Wyoming Teen Ambassadors in Pinedale, Wyoming to learn and dive a little deeper about the J Foundation. And what I really learned there is to stand tall in these boots and that you're never alone.
Hi. So my boots mean a lot to me, but most importantly, they help me understand that not everyone's alone and we all have more than common than what we think we do.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Ileana Birmingham, and my boots mean to me that there's always a step forward that we can take. Even though we're not alone, we're all wearing the cowboy boots, and it's really important that we know that there's always a next day and a step forward that we can take.
Madam Chair, Superintendent Cooper, Board of Trustees, thank you so much. As you learned, our boots mean more to us than just wearing them. And we do Boot Check Wednesday, every Wednesday at the high school, and it's an opportunity to check on friends, family, and just a reminder to check on yourself as well. So we would love to invite you all to participate in our Boot Check Wednesdays and also any of our monthly activities that we have planned. This month, we have a Boot Check tailgate where we will be serving hamburgers and hot dogs, I think, along with other things, right before our school's Powder Puff game. And we would love to see you guys there and see you guys participate in what we're doing. Thank you.
Madam Chair, Dr. Scott Cooper, our superintendent, I'd just like to say thank you for enabling us to get these J boots. It's been really cool to see classmates kind of like buy in essentially to the message that they have. And it's cool to see also that like it actually sat with some of the students like, whoa, this is important. This is cool. That was super cool to see. So thank you for enabling us to get these.
Thank you. That's such a great program and I'm sure making a difference in the kids' lives. So thank you. Next, I need a motion to approve our agenda.
A motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Moved by Tom,
Second.
second by Mandy. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda items? Do I need to add this in
Might want to.
to this right now?
You could ask them, yeah.
And we, with the, get an approval with the motion to also include 5.07A, which is the approval of the first discretionary fund application FFA Nationals trip. I think that's our only change.
So moved.
Moved by Mandy,
Second.
second by Michelle. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Okay. For district goals and leadership activities, we were able to attend the 2025 fall regional meeting for WSBA. Does anybody have anything they wanted to share from that? No? I thought it was a good meeting. It's always nice to meet with the other districts, and we had a good showing from our board there and update on where the legislature may or may not go, and went over a lot of financial stuff. So it was informational and it was good. Anybody else?
Very good.
Okay. Next, moving on, just a reminder of the Hall of Fame game and banquet, which is September 19th is the football game. September 20th is the banquet. Did we decide, and next discussion on McKinnon meet and greet dates? Did we have any, or are we postponing that?
Oh, we should have that discussion now.
Okay.
I think if everyone could look at their calendar,
Okay.
if possible. And I see Principal Steve Lake is out in the audience there as well, he can represent McKinnon. So and maybe speak on behalf of the teachers out there and the days that work best for them. I think we were looking at the week of the 29th maybe as the first possible week. That's at the very end of this month. If there's a day there. And the times for this, are we trying for a 5 o'clock start out there, or what have we traditionally done?
I think
Or
we,
is this your first time?
Yep.
Okay, mine too. Mine too.
Yep.
oh, so it's
6 o'clock.
typically in the
6 o'clock?
evening. I think
Okay.
we usually leave here at 5.
Okay, so 6 o'clock. Okay. If anybody has a best 6 o'clock date, maybe on that week of the 29th.
I'm good for any of those dates. The 29th through the 3rd. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I would say not the 30th.
Or the 1st, right? The
Would we
30th
push
and
it into
1st.
the next week of October?
Okay. Looking at October 6th that week. Any takers?
I'm good anytime that week.
Whatever, too.
The 7th is busy for me.
Tuesdays usually don't work for other board members because they're on other boards that meet Tuesdays. So maybe if we did like a Monday or a Wednesday.
Monday looks good. Monday the 6th.
Good.
Monday the
Yeah.
6th.
That
Steve,
works.
Monday the 6th. Feel like we're at an auction. Are we going? Monday the 6th at 6 in
Perfect.
McKinnon. We're good with that? All right.
Yep.
Okay.
6 p.m., right?
6, but 5 o'clock here for a carpool.
Okay.
And should we just let Brooke know if we're going, just so we have a head count? Okay, perfect. All right, we're gonna strike the, oh, because that already passed. Also a reminder of the WSBA Fall Workshop Series, which is September 18th, 25th, October 2nd, and the 9th.
If I could add to that, that is the online workshop series, just so you know. Okay, you guys all have that information? Good.
Yep. Also a reminder of the WSBA 2024 Annual Conference, November 19th through 21st. We need RSVP by October 8th. Just let Brooke know. And she can make arrangements, and then we can figure out carpooling together if we have multiple people going. 5.07 is discussion of the strategic plan and discretionaries form.
JR, are you able to bring up that form on our screen?
You want me to make that motion?
Yeah,
So I'm going to motion to approve the board discretionary funds application with 2 modifications. I'd like to add, where it says, is this open to student application, to any student? I'd like to add a column underneath there for an explanation as to yes or no. And then I think we need signature lines at the end for principal to sign off and or administration, however we want to do that, but
And advisor.
when it comes to us, it needs to be researched.
right.
So
And approved by the building.
I'll second the motion.
So moved. Second, or
Moved
you
by
moved it.
Tom,
Never
second
mind.
by Michelle.
Can-
As for discussion also, with the rate, we can choose to leave it as it is in this form. But we had also discussed just doing a flat rate and not adding on the registration. So is there any discussion on that? Would people prefer to just have a flat rate? We typically had done $175.
For qualifying. 175 flat for qualifying and 125 for non-qualifying, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
And then for qualifying events, I think we only have a few. Speech and debate. All Northwest.
And
FFA is one.
Yeah. Band
Band.
All Northwest. What is it?
Oh, yeah.
But-
Sometimes there's choir that,
I think for those, we discussed in our meeting that we could have the latitude to help out with registration if we so choose.
so do you want to do like the 175 and registration, or do we want to just do, because
The
on the
flat.
form it separates it for a fee of what we would pay for WHSS qualifying event, and then there's a lesser amount for one that's not a qualifying event.
I think those, I don't know, it's apples and oranges because if we approve this, FFA is only asking for 150 and not 175,
Mm-hmm.
but they're asking for registration of 100. So
Any other thoughts, comments?
I like the flat rate, whatever we decide on, only because, I mean, you're gonna get some groups that the registration is $50 and some's 125. And if we only take 100 towards the registration, it's gonna seem off balance to some. So I think, in my opinion, to help make it fair across the board, I think a flat rate would ease that gray area. But whatever the board decides, I'm for.
I agree with that because also sometimes when it's submitted, it's one, they have one flat fee and then registration's not separated out. It's the hotel registration, everything's lumped into one sum. So again, hard for us to say we'll pay this much towards that. But I'm not opposed to doing 175 flat rate, or we can raise that if you want to do that for that category.
I think until this board decides exactly what we want to do, we need to stick with what we've currently done, $175 flat rate. And leave the rest of that up for discussion later.
Anybody else?
I just have a clarification question for Tom there. Earlier, you said, right before you said add signatures to the end of the document, you wanted to add something further up on the document. What was that?
It was in the section that says, is this open to any student applicant? Yes or no? We just need an explanation
Okay.
piece underneath that.
Thank you.
I just feel strongly that there's events out there that you can't go unless you qualify. And there's events out there that we can take anybody, and I think stronger consideration down the road needs to be given to those who have to qualify. That's just my personal opinion.
Okay, so we have a motion with the changes that Tom mentioned with the explanation and the signature, with an addition of the cost. So how do we want to break it down? Do we want to just approve for this year to do 175 for the qualifying events? Or do we want to leave it for further discussion later?
170, so that would that be 175 for qualifying events, and then for non-qualifying, it would be
The
at our
form says
discretion?
the
Or would
form
be a-
says 125,
Okay.
but we can do however we think that our monies will cover. Any motions?
I'll motion to do a flat rate of 175 for qualifying events and 125 for non-qualifying.
Okay. So the motion by Mandy to do 175 flat rate for qualifying, 125 for non-qualifying. Do I have a second? Or a different motion?
I'll second that.
Second by Tom. Or any discussion?
So with that, you're suggesting that's the overall flat rate. Correct. So we're not separating out registration and expenses. It's all inclusive per attendee.
I would say yes, right? Because the problem I think we run into is the registrations are so different. We want to make sure we give a fair amount. Like if we say registration, we give $100 towards registration, but the registration's only 50. Why should we give 50 more dollars when they don't need it, when it could go to a different group, I guess? So a flat rate makes it a little easier and a little more fair across the board.
In this proposal, each student would be getting $250. Is that, Katie, maybe you can answer it. Typically, did we just do the 175 flat this last year?
So on the floor right now, we have the form.
The
We
form.
need to vote on that first.
Yes, let's vote on, well, I think we need to do the funding first since it's in the form.
Oh, that's fine.
Does that work?
Yeah.
Madam Chair, quick question on that.
Yeah.
So as we look at this flat rate, we're gonna have trips that vary in their expense, in their scope overall. If we're considering a flat rate without consideration of proportionality for the cost of the trip, I
Mhm.
think that is unevenly distributed.
That's a good point.
I also think it behooves us to look at projections historically and what we're looking at going forward to see what we can allow.
Yeah.
Could we say up to 175 or up to 125?
I mean, we can do whatever this
I mean,
board decides.
But I mean, that way it would cover that if it doesn't cost as much, then we wouldn't give them 175 or we won't. I don't know.
Just a
don't know
point
either.
of clarification, when we say qualify, that's a Wyoming High School
Well-
Activities Association qualifying
Yes.
event
Yes,
in order to go.
yes. So since it sounds like to me, we have discussion still on the actual amount. So we could move forward to approve the form with us to have further discussion on the funding. And then still have the option to approve this one as is for today and then moving forward.
Would that give FFA enough time? Because isn't there an event in October? So we're gonna move
Yes.
this one to October.
No, I think we'd have to approve this one tonight if you're going to approve it because their early registration is before our next meeting.
Okay.
So you could just make a motion on the specific application that came forward and that specific amount they're asking for and vote on that and still work on the form if you want to continue that into October.
Yes.
The way we read it was that you would potentially give us $250, 150 for expenses, and then 100 for registration. Sorry. And that's how we kind of detailed in it and laid it out and picked key things that we would have you pay for. So as you were to read it right now, it wouldn't be one flat rate, it's two separate rates. So I think that's something important going forward is to distinguish of, is it a flat rate or is it
Right.
differing? And I think it is important to realize, like you mentioned before, that registration it varies depending on where you go, how far you're going, the scope of it, just important things to look at. And if I can add, inflation, you may have been giving 175 however many years ago, but has that increased with how much our kids are having to pay as they go to trips? So just an ask that you consider that as well for all activities moving forward, that the amount you're willing to give also increases as we have to pay more to get kids places.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So my possible recommendation or idea here is we do have an application before us. They used the draft form that we told them to use. They used it to the best of their abilities with a registration fee and with a max amount per student fee. And they came forward with that request in that application. And I believe it's $1,700 that they're requesting for their trip. And they need to register in the next couple of weeks. So if you want to go ahead and discuss and approve that application tonight, you certainly could. And we can continue the discussion on the form and how we should make this form the most appropriate for moving forward, if you'd like.
Can we table? But I think we should table the form and discuss it before our next board meeting, like maybe have a workshop before, discuss it so we can have a lengthy discussion and get the numbers that we are wanting to see. But then for tonight, so table 5.07 and then move to 5.07A, approval of this, using this discretionary funds for this time, just do it as a single separate.
So what do we do with the two motions that are on the floor right now? Do we just leave them? or
Table them?
You can table. You can not vote on them and
Just vote?
I move
nay?
to amend the motion.
there you go.
to
Thank you.
Table item 5.07.
Okay, move to table the motion by Tommy,
Second.
second by Dan. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, moving on to 5.07, approval of the FFA Nationals trip using board discretionary funds.
I'll motion to approve the application as presented.
Moved by Tom,
I'll second it.
second by Michelle. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, everybody, for your discussion. Also, just as public notice, we will be having a special board meeting next Wednesday, September 17th at 5:30 to discuss the FFA project, as we will be presenting some things to go out for bid. And it will be in here.
Yes.
Okay. We don't have anything with the personnel. Moving on to curriculum, 7.01, we have a presentation from Monroe Elementary on their All Pro Dads program. Mr. Imoni.
Good evening, Madam Chair Castilian, Dr. Cooper, Board of Trustees. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk about All Pro Dad. There's been some talk this year about alignment with our strategic plan. So something that All Pro Dad does is it directly aligns with safety and wellness, and then also with communication and collaboration, and it indirectly aligns with improving student achievement. You see, JR, is this on? Nope. Thanks, JR. So, All Pro Dad, I have a couple videos here. I'll let the videos kind of explain better than I can, but we were approached last year by Dr. Demaray about All Pro Dad. As you can see, it's founded by Tony Dungy and partners with the NFL. And they also partner with Family First, which you can see is a nonprofit organization for families. But I'd like to play this video that they have on their website that maybe explains it a little bit better than I can.
All Pro Dad is about building those connections between those important male figures in students' lives. Dads, big brothers, uncles, grandpas feel comfortable and welcome to come into our school campuses and find their spot.
Many dads want to be able to be involved in the life of their children, but either they have the same experience that I have, where their father wasn't involved in their life, or they simply don't know how to get involved. All Pro Dad provides an opportunity, a dedicated, reserved opportunity for the dad to be able to engage with the child in a safe environment.
There is something powerful about parents coming in, engaging with their children, engaging with the school, that just sort of creates an extension of the school that becomes a community. When All Pro Dad events are going on, the entire school gets excited.
What we're providing for them is wholesome experiences that I don't know if we would get from any other program in a school setting. I know that through the power of All Pro Dad, children are more able to have meaningful conversations with their parents than ever before.
The thought is it's an urban community. There are not a lot of fathers here. And when we kicked off All Pro Dad, I went in with that mindset. A lot of it is based on society, what we hear in the TV, what we hear in the media, when in fact, they are very present. They just want to be asked. They want a voice in their child's education. Don't leave them out of a story.
Schools that don't have an All Pro Dad chapter, I think, are missing out on a great opportunity to involve the dads in that school community. By our children seeing that strong men can love and they can have feelings, they can cry, I think those lessons are really, really important.
We have a moment in each meeting where a dad will speak on something they saw in their child, kind of catching them doing something wonderful. And you will see the children, whether they're blushing, whether they're beaming, whether there's tears, the amount of praise that's coming onto them at that moment, they feel it, and you see that.
If All Pro Dad would have been around when I was in school, it would have given me a moment with my dad that I probably really craved.
When a dad talks and shares why they're proud, all I look at is the eyes of the child. The power of that voice, the yearning for that voice is so incredible to watch. You can physically see it in the eyes of a child. And to me, that means the world.
So, just basically, again, when fathers are actively involved, children start to thrive, right? You know, along with mothers as well. But there's just research out there that says that. JR, it's not working. Or Brooke. Perfect. So, you know, this is the mission and core values. So they're focused on character building, making connection with the father and the child and the kids. It's not working again, Brooke. Sorry. So this is a perspective from a student. So before we get into that, basically, there's a few ways that you can get involved with All Pro Dad. So there's emails, and then once a month we have a meeting. So that's coming up September 18th at 8 o'clock at Monroe Elementary in the Media Center. Everybody's free to come if you want to come and check it out. And then there's a curriculum that we'll kind of touch on in a little bit after this video from the student's perspective.
My dad's an all-pro dad.
Today I got to tell my daughter how proud I am of her.
My dad said he was proud of me. In front of everyone.
Today I got to have a conversation with her about courage.
I just learned that my dad's really afraid of spiders. Spiders?
It was scary, it really was.
Sure.
I just learned that his grades are improving.
I love it when my dad brings me to school.
I've never felt closer to her.
I feel the same way.
I love being an all-pro dad.
I love it too. Start a chapter. Start a chapter. Start a chapter.
You won't regret it.
So there's 1,000 active school chapters. A lot of people reached NFL partnerships. We're the first and only chapter in Wyoming, so that's kind of cool. I think it's in 42 states, so we're the only one in Wyoming right now, and that's Monroe Elementary. The intent was to pilot at Monroe and see if it trickles into the other elementaries and possibly the middle school. Perfect. So this is the journey that we were on. So again, first in Wyoming, you guys saw that. February was the first time we had our first meeting of 2025. We had 3 meetings. The topics are on the bottom. So proactivity, gratitude, purpose, and sensitivity were, I guess it'd be 4 meetings, but were the ones that we went over last spring. This year, I think next week is going to be consistency. So this is the impact that we had. I can't read it from the front, but you guys can see how many meetings we had, the year in review. I think we averaged about 25 people per meeting. We're starting in the morning. Right now, we had some feedback that said they'd like to go in the afternoon, possibly too. So we may look at that. And then they also have another process or thing that you can do. It's called a serve day, where just an example where some of the dads just come into the school in the morning or after school and they stand in the pickup drop off line, just say hi to kids, high five them, get involved that way. That could be a simple serve day. So just things like that we'll probably add in the future. Sweet. So I think that's it. There's just some of the information. The gal at All Pro Dad asked me to put that up there. And so again, our next meeting is September 18th, 8 o'clock, Monroe Media Center. Everybody's invited. Any questions?
No questions. Thank you.
Sweet. Thanks.
Looks good.
Thank you.
Nice work, Mr. Imoni.
Right.
Okay, we'll now have a presentation on YTOP and ACT scores for 2024-25. Dr. Demery.
All right. Thank you, Madam Chair, Dr. Cooper, and Board of Trustees. So each month we have students come up here and their sponsors or their coaches and really highlight all the great accomplishments that our kids are doing in our district, and really highlights just how amazing our students are and their accomplishments and just that whole experience that we provide for kids here in Sweetwater too. But we know that the state of Wyoming has to have their measures and ways that they can determine if our schools are meeting their expectations. And we know that also at the heart of what we do is math and ELA and science. And so we have to take the YTOP. And now, while that's one measure, that's how kids do on one day a year on that one assessment, it is how the state measures us. And so we're going to kind of go through a little bit of this information and share some of this exciting results that our schools have had, and you know, kind of highlight some of those great performances. So just for some of you that are fairly new to the board, this is kind of how schools are measured. And again, as I shared, the state utilizes, whether we you know believe that this is the best way or not, this is the way that they do it, and they use the YTOP for our elementary and middle schools, and then they use the YTOP and the ACT for our high school students. And then they take those performances and they take a look at how our students have done regarding their growth from one year to the next, their achievement on that year's assessment. They take a look at subgroups within that school, and then also taking a look at our English language learners as a separate group. And so that's kind of how our elementary middle school gets measured, and they get a score for each of those different areas. For the high school and expedition, they look at graduation, credits earned, post-secondary, which would be you know, what opportunities are we giving our students to experience post-secondary skills, such as some of our electives and so forth, as well as also the equity, the growth, and the achievement for the YTOP and the ACT. The high school and all our alternative high schools are separated into two different categories. Now, based on all those performances, schools are given a rating scale based on that performance. That can be anywhere from exceeding, which is the top performance rating that you can receive, to meeting expectations, to partially meeting, and then not meeting if that school is experiencing some challenges. I think it's important to note that last year, only 12% of schools statewide exceeded the expectations, and less than half, which was 44% of schools, met expectations per their guidelines. And so as we go through this, I think it's important to remember that our schools did very well, and we definitely want to celebrate their achievements. We'll start out with Monroe, and even though Mr. Imoni just did a really nice presentation on a fantastic program that he's initiated there, I'll start with saying that a couple years ago, Monroe was in the not meets category, and then they had such great growth last year with their student performance that it boosted them into the exceeds category. And you'll see that with schools sometimes, just because some of those may weigh a little bit more than others. And so this year, when you look at how Monroe performed, very well out of all 7, you know, marks that were assessed between grades 3, 4, and 5, you can see that Monroe beat the state average in 5 out of those 7. So really nice performance. You can see you know, we assess ELA and math in each of those 3 grade levels. We only do science in 4th grade, 8th grade, and 10th grade. And so again, as you're looking at that, you know, from year to year, it could vary, right? Depending on the students that you have and the different experiences that they bring in. But a really nice job from Monroe, and that puts them as a meets. They met the expectations for the school performance. So again, very outstanding job by Mr. Imoni and his staff at Monroe Elementary. You know, just really proud of their performance. Looking at Harrison Elementary, nice picture of Mr. Lake there. Looking at their performance, again, I think this is something we've seen for year to year with his building, is that consistency. 7 out of 7 marks met or exceeded the state average in Y-top performance. And a couple of those are pretty outstanding. When you look at fourth grade math scores in the 83 percentile, that's pretty fantastic. So really kudos to probably more Mrs. Cobb there. But I think that Steve deserves definitely a lot of credit and his staff for continuing that work, which puts Mr. Lake and the Harrison team at exceeding expectations for their performance summary. So really outstanding job. And I know that he's really proud of his staff and the district's really proud of him as well. All right, Truman Elementary. I think to preface with Truman, last year they did not meet the standards. And so I know we had quite a few changes. Mr. Faginzer came back in, really brought back, along with Mrs. Mandros, brought back some of that instructional focus. And because of that, what we've seen is some really good growth out of Truman. Their students really made a lot of growth. And while you see this and you say, well, geez, this isn't, we'd rather see a higher number. It's important to know that from one year to the next, that growth was really exponential. And so because of that, we can see that they met expectations this year. So to go from not meets, skip partial meets and go all the way to meets really speaks to the work that building put together and really their commitment to their students. And so we're really proud of that work. And we only know that those Y-top scores are going to continue to improve as this work continues. And so nice job to that team as well. All right, Washington Elementary. When we look at their performance, again, 5 out of 7 met or exceeded the state average. Nice job there. That was Mrs. Covey and Mrs. Bird last year. You can see the fifth graders really did a nice job. Those are some outstanding performances. And we knew that last year as fourth graders, right, they had done really well. So we were hoping to see that because we also track that as they're doing from year to year. But great job in how they performed. And again, when we look at how on those indicators, Washington exceeded the expectations again this year as they did last year. So fantastic job from all of our elementaries. And when you think about if you have a young child here that's in kindergarten through fifth grade, doesn't matter what school you send them to, according to the state criteria, you're in a school that meets or exceeds criteria for achievement, growth, and equity. And Monroe exceeded an ELL. So just outstanding performance from our elementary programs. When we look at Lincoln, again, similar ways that they're rated on their performance, and 4 out of 7, fantastic job. And I think that for all buildings, if there are areas where they were maybe below or too close to the state average, we know that they're working towards and wanting to try to do the things they can to increase those scores. I think it's important to remember that this is one assessment on one day where they took the ELA, and then one day where they took the math, and one day where they took the science. It's a test of endurance, right? But we're not here to come up with excuses why maybe one of our grades didn't do as well as the other. I think we're always being reflective and looking and seeing how we can improve. But this is the way that we're measured, and so this is what we're going to do our best to accomplish. But nice job to Lincoln, and with that, they're meeting expectations as well. So all of our elementaries, now our middle school, all have met expectations so far. So nice job from all of those buildings. Let's take a look at our high school. I think pretty amazing when you think of high school students taking the Y-top. There's not a whole lot of meaning for them to take this assessment, right? There's not really a credit that they earn. It's hard to motivate sometimes middle school and high school kids to do really well on this assessment. And to see that they've done better than the state average on 4 out of 5 of those marks is really fantastic. So nice job to Mr. Heslop and all his whole team. The high school, as I mentioned, is also taking a look at the ACT. And as you can see, we exceeded the state average on 4 out of 5 marks on the ACT, with the last one there being the composite, which is what a lot of our students are taking to go into colleges, exceeding the state average there. So fantastic job by the high school. And when you look, the high school is also meeting expectations in all areas. And I think it's important to note that they're looking at credits earned, right? Are we giving enough opportunities for our kids to get those credits? Post-secondary, as you've seen some different presentations here, we have some amazing post-secondary programs, and I know that the board is committed to expanding on those through their CTE offerings. Graduation rate has continued to rise year to year, so we're really proud of that. And then we also take a look at those other groups within the YTOP and ACT performance. I think we've talked about this before, but Wyoming is one of very few states that assesses all sophomores and juniors there for the ACT, right? So certain states will only offer that as an option for students, and then that's how they get their marks. Well, for us in Wyoming, all students as juniors take the ACT, and so there are some students that don't want to go to college, and that's okay, right? Well, that's why we're providing them with all these different pathways. But so I think that it just really highlights how well-rounded our building is. And lastly, Expedition Academy. Again, they have a little bit different set of standards that they have to meet as an alternative school. Here is their proficiency rates. They are only assessed in grade 10. You can see where their performance is. And then their ACT performance. Again, sometimes it's hard to motivate certain students. They're attending Expedition for a variety of reasons. And so I think that it's important that more weight for our alternative schools is on graduation and post-secondary and some of those components. And so when we look at our alternative school performance, Expedition again is exceeding expectations. And we know the outstanding work that building does at building relationships with their students, and we know the high the student to teacher ratio there really promotes that, and we're hoping to really expand and provide more opportunities for kids to be able to attend Expedition as well. But I think that it just shows to that building and how they continue to support our students. So overall, I think it really needs to be celebrated that all buildings in our district are meeting or exceeding expectations. Whatever you believe is in regards to a state assessment, that is the way we're measured. And I think that it just speaks to the volume of all staff. And it's not just our teachers, which obviously they get a lot of credit, right? They're the ones that are teaching the math skills and the ELA skills, but our kids have to get to school, right? It takes a really good transportation department. They have to be fed when they get there, whether it's breakfast, whether it's lunch, and they have to have those opportunities. They have to go to really clean and beautiful buildings that are well kept, right? It really does take everyone to come together to provide these opportunities, and this is why we're getting these accomplishments. Also, all the different activities that we offer for our kids, the extracurricular activities that keeps them motivated, keeps them coming, engaged, and all of that. So, I could sit here for hours and tell you how proud I am, but I think that if you're a member of our community here and you have kids going to this school, there's a lot of noise sometimes that we hear about, but the truth is in the pudding, right? And right now our schools are performing really well, and we hope to continue that. Now it gets harder, right, to keep those marks. The expectations are always that we meet or exceed every year, and from time to time things can happen that can impact that. But I know that our staff's committed. I know that our administrators are committed. Dr. Cooper has brought in some really nice energy as well on some of these initiatives, and so we're just really proud of our students and our staff and our families for bringing us wonderful kids, right? We get them how they are, and we just want to continue to grow them. And so hopefully I can't speak for you, and I'm sure you're proud as well to sit up there, and it's a lot nice when you can see that our students are doing really well. But with that, I'll stand for questions.
I would just say congratulations to the whole district. I know that's a lot of work and a great accomplishment. I think this is, in the time I've been on the board, this is the first time that we've had everybody meet and exceed. So congratulations. And I know it takes everybody. So thank you.
Yeah.
Any other comments?
Great job. I think it starts from the top all the way to every school. So thank you for just everyone contributing, and the atmosphere of each school, because like you said, it's the custodians, it's just the atmosphere in each school that really helps motivate And so, yeah, kudos.
Great job. Thank you. Okay, we will move on to consider approval of the selection for professional architectural services for the CTE remodel building concept.
Thank you,
Mr. Hill.
Madam Chairman, Board. On last Wednesday, we met as a facilities committee. That was the day we got all our requests or proposals from architects. We went through those and it is our recommendation to recommend QC 10 out of Sheridan. And if you look through this, you'll see Plan 1 in Rock Springs was a little more economical, but I think the thought behind that was that QC 10 provided a little bit better comprehensive program and a little bit more in drawings and concepts. So with that, I'd be asking for your approval for QC 10 out of Sheridan for $30,090.
And I just want to clarify, Danny, I think you were saying the 3,000 is reimbursable if we decide to go with them, not for this part, but can you elaborate on that?
So no, that 3,000 would be for this part, but it would be things that if they needed more drawings, if they needed those, more. So we would be, some of those reimbursables, we would have a say in.
Okay.
So for clarification, Doug, we are asking for 33,090 total with the potential of 3,000 being reimbursed.
Yeah. So that is correct.
So that's a reduction in the overall cost? Or is that,
No, that's
or is
a
that an
addition.
opportunity
That's
for
a-
a reduction in potential CRs? I'm a bit confused.
So as this thing materializes, the only reduction you would have is if they didn't have as many trips or it didn't take as much time as they thought to come through. Those would be the only way you'd save dollars in that.
So is this a $3,000 reduction on change requests? Or
So-
additions too?
So there's the amount we're requesting approval for is $33,090. And then if we don't require as many times for them to come out to the site, that's a cost savings that could be part of that 3,000 in reduction. Also, to your point, I think that you're making there is if we don't require a lot of change order requests, if they show us some drawings and we like what we're seeing and we move forward versus we don't like and we want to go back to the drawing board to say, and we want to start over, then that's where we're going to eat into that 3,000 of reimbursable if we require more drawings over this process.
And I think QC 10 provides you with 3 different concepts at the end.
Yeah.
So there's a chance you'll get the 3,000, there's a chance you won't.
Exactly. That's why the approval's for the total amount, and there's potential for 3,000 in savings if all goes really smooth through the process. But we also want to make sure we do this process very well because this is a step towards a larger planning process for the future of the CTE expansion facility there. So it's a very important piece in the beginning. So the savings of 3,000, I'd rather spend the 3,000 and spend more time to make sure we're heading in the right direction towards what those teachers need for their CTE facilities and what those students need. And that was a big part of our discussion with facilities. I know Daniel was there as well. We had a lot of discussion about spending a little bit more for a little higher quality at this initial starting point to make sure that we start in a positive trajectory to get high quality outcomes with these initial drawings in this conceptual phase of the work. And then we'll go out to bid again later for a larger architectural ask later in the season, probably in the winter time, after we have some concepts, and we'll come back to you with that request.
Any other discussion? Can I get a motion to approve the professional architectural services with QC10 Architects for $30,990 plus 3,000 reimbursables at a total of $33,090.
So moved.
Moved by Tom,
A second.
second by Michelle. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you.
Motion carries. Thank you, Doug.
Thank you, Mr. Hamel.
Okay, next we'll hear a presentation on the calendar criteria, Dr. Cooper.
Yes, the calendar. Okay, the calendar. We've talked a lot about this the last couple of with staff and everyone. I want to make sure we officially announce that we're going to launch into our calendar work this fall. It is time to build out a calendar for not only next school year, we're going to try and build this out for the next 3 school years. So before you see on the screen and in your packets is calendar criteria that has been developed over the past several years. A lot of this information dates back even 10 years ago and up to today as some different criteria has been added to the guidelines for as we move forward with this calendar work. Right off the bat in the very beginning, you'll see some concrete numbers that are coming to us from the state that are non-negotiables in that we have to have 175 student days and 185 teacher days, and 5 of those teachers' days need to be staff development days. Some of these things are non-negotiable. What I'm asking you, though, is that you've read through these pages of criteria. You're probably familiar with this. Some of you have worked on calendar committees in the past. I'm asking for you to emphasize any of the criteria that you really want to make sure that we do not want to forget about, but we want to stay focused on. In addition to, we're looking at these several pages of criteria as we work with the committee. Before you weigh in on that, I will say we've surveyed our community, we've surveyed students, we've surveyed staff. We have thousands of surveys back. We have a lot of data that we're going to crunch tomorrow morning and take a look with our internal central calendar group to begin to build the logistics of how that first meeting is going to look. In addition to that, parents and students and teachers and paraprofessionals and classified staff, everybody in our district has acknowledged that they want to participate. If they have acknowledged that they want to participate, we're going to put their names in a hat. We're going to draw out several of each category to make sure that we're having good representation of teachers and classified staff and parents and students, in addition to our district leadership, because I do need the principals involved in this work. I do need the leaders of each department involved in this work, as it will affect all their departments and schools, the outcome of these calendars. So this is a fairly large group we're bringing together, 40, 45 individuals will be held in this room here, these meetings. We'll begin with the first meeting will be all about the criteria and the special emphasis on the criteria that we hear from the board tonight. And we will also talk about the data that we've gathered showing graphs around priorities that our staff have, priorities that our parents have, and our students have. And that's kind of how we'll begin. And then every 2 weeks we'll meet as a committee. We'll be able to report back in the October meeting with a couple of highlights. And the hope is in the November board meeting, we'll be able to report some a draft for you to take a look at and possibly approve if you so choose to, or you could think about it till the December meeting, but the goal is to get this accomplished before the end of the semester. So anything you want to emphasize in the criteria to give us guidance as we begin our first calendar committee next week?
I guess I can start because I can't get off this committee for some reason. But I do know like important to our district is to keep our spring break with Western. That came out at our last committee meeting, just because it benefits families and our kids that we have going to Western. They actually get a spring break. Some of the other things, I was just trying to look at this. Typically, we try to end our first semester before Christmas. One thing in building the committee, I think it's important to have teachers and students from all levels because the needs that oftentimes the elementary see are different than secondary just because of the type of work they're doing. So anyway, those would be my suggestions.
I like it.
Any other thoughts or suggestions for the calendar committee? We will start next week. We will report back with some highlights in October. And then we'll hopefully report back with a draft or maybe a couple of drafts for you to look at in November. Okay, thank you.
Perfect, thank you. And the committee's really not that bad. Everybody seems to come together in the end. So it's good. 9.02, consider approval on updated bus stops for transportation. Rachel Todd.
I don't think Rachel is here yet. She was at a training in Casper today and she was driving back. I was talking with her on the phone. We
Okay.
didn't have a chance to discuss this much, but I will say from what I read through the report, and hopefully you all had a chance to look at that, we just have to adjust some of our bus stops. And so there's some clarity in the board packet on the specific bus stops that we want to utilize. They're safer bus stops for the students. So that's our number one goal with these bus stops. So just want to make sure you're aware of the new bus stops that she is recommending that we utilize. There are pages and pages of bus stops listed there. It's very detailed. She's very thorough with her work and safety is top priority.
Can I get a motion to approve or any discussion?
So moved.
Moved by Michelle.
Second.
Second by Mandy. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. And I know these take a long time to do, so we appreciate all the information. 9.03, Sweetwater 2 protocols in case of inclement weather.
This is just really quick. I wanted to understand what we do in case of a snow day here. I'm new to Wyoming. Everyone tells me it's going to snow and it's going to happen. I haven't seen it yet, although we had quite a hailstorm today. That was impressive. So I sat down with leadership here at Central and walked through the criteria for an inclement weather event type day that would cause us to delay school or cancel school. We reviewed the criteria. We really didn't change anything other than I updated the date at the top and I noted in there partway down that we are going to stay in constant communication with the city during these decisions because obviously we have to know if roads are going to be plowed and safe for our buses. So that is our protocol that we have for those types of days. Lots of communication, lots of collaboration going on. Strategic plan number 3.
Perfect. Thank you. We don't need to approve that, correct?
This is just an FYI
Information.
for you.
Thank you. 9.04, consider approval to apply for impact aids. Dr. Cooper.
Yes. Would a board member like to read that since I'm mentioned in there?
Oh,
Would you like
I
to read
can
that
if
motion, or Mandy might be able to read that motion.
Go ahead.
Either one. I can read it.
Okay.
Resolution to authorize application for impact aid monies for fiscal year 2027. The following resolution needs to be moved, seconded, and read into the minutes of the September 9th, 2025 board meeting. Move to authorize the district to proceed with an impact aid student count, those whose parents work on or under federal land during the month of October 2025, and to authorize Superintendent Scott Cooper to apply for fiscal year 2025-26 monies on behalf of Sweetwater School District Number 2. Keep reading or just that one?
I don't think you have to read the whole history, but the amount that we are is at the bottom right there.
In the amount of 137,200. Oh,
No, no, that was last year's.
oh,
That was last year's amount. So to clarify, sorry about that. We are applying again. This is a history of
okay.
all that was awarded over the past several years, and we're applying again this year.
Okay.
Thank you for
Okay,
approval to apply.
sorry.
Yeah. And then we will notify you of the amount that is awarded here later.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Okay. So can I get a motion to approve?
I'll motion to approve as read by Ashley.
Moved by Tom,
Second.
second by Tommy. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, next is consider approval of the revisions to Section D policies. Mrs. Covey.
All right, good evening, Madam Chair, Superintendent Cooper, and Board of Trustees. We have a few policies this evening to go through. And I first do want to remind you, we are doing an audit policy, which is why you're seeing these large amounts of policies coming forth. And this is our D policies, is which we are starting this evening. And this is focused on our fiscal management of this. Over the past couple of months, we have worked closely with our business department. Mrs. Harder and Mrs. Sweat have been instrumental in looking through these policies. And it's going to look a little bit different this evening on the 9.05 A through R. These are current policies that we have in place right now. We're updating, we're revising through some of our Wyoming State School Board Association recommendations, and then of course our amazing Super 8 that comes together and going through these policies. So these these policies are currently in place with revisions of just bringing up to speed of what we're currently doing and what our practice is and moving that into policies. Some of these haven't been reviewed for many years, so we are bringing them up to speed. And two on here that I do want to point out that look a little bit different, again, is just keeping up with the current trends, is 9.05D, which is policy DF, and 9.05Q, which is policy DM. If you could scroll down, there is a component on here in green that we have added on here. And we have found over the past several years, as many of you know, if you participate in fundraisers or activities, go to games, we use a lot of electronic payment. And we have been finding that that is increasing, and our activities sponsors and coaches are being asked, do you take Venmo? Can you take a PayPal? And as a district, we didn't have that in place. So many times, like, oh yeah, just send it to my personal one. We'll get that taken care of. And so we really want to ensure we're being very transparent with these funds, and any district related funds are not going to any personal financial electronic payments. So lots of QR codes have been out there this fall. If you haven't seen any, be watching, they are coming. And so we have added this to these two policies to really ensure that those dollars are being directed back into our funds here in the school district. And I think so far it's been going fairly well. So with that, I would ask, first of all, if there's any other questions on these policies, A through R, that are currently in place. And if I could appreciate your consideration for approval from 9.05A through R.
Can I get a motion to approve 9.05A through R?
I move to approve 9.05A through R.
Moved by Tommy.
Second.
Second by Tom. Any discussion? I would just say the ones that weren't highlighted, it's just wording, minimal
Yes, thank you.
information. So
Thank you, Madam Chair. I should have
and
noted
we
that.
did go through
Yes.
each one individually in our committee. So, and I appreciate passing it this way. It's much quicker for us. So I appreciate that. Okay. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
You're welcome. I'd ask for your consideration for a revision for policy EFAB, and it's also a D policy, DJF. And this is the procurement policy and procedures. Again, just some minor tweaks and adjustments to how we are currently doing business. But since this policy also appears in our E policies, I wanted to pull that out because it wasn't fully just in the D policies, if that makes sense.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate your consideration for approval.
Can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Mandy.
Second.
Second by Dan. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
We have also, to keep things exciting here, we've also threw in a few I policies. And these I policies came to light with our homeschool change in our homeschool policy. So, and keeping up again with how things are being run, I've worked a bit with our activities director, Mr. Beardsley, on policy IGDA. as well as IDGA1, IDGA-R2, and IGDA-R3. I want to point out R1 is focusing around our 9th through 12th grade participation in activities, and R2 is for our middle school participation in activities. Again, this is all keeping up with the Wyoming High School Activities Association and their procedures, as well as you will notice IGDA R3 is a policy at this point that we don't need anymore, that it is taking into account the other 3 policies, and this is one that we don't need. And there's a little explanation at the bottom there, Brooke. There we go. That just the combination of school agreement is now part of the WHSAA homeschool online form that parents will fill out and must be approved by the WHSSA, and that this policy is obsolete and we do not need to combine the school policy agreement. So we're going to get rid of that one with your approval. So I appreciate your consideration for approval of first reading.
Thank you. Can I get a motion to approve 9.07A through D?
So moved.
Moved by Tom,
Second.
second by Michelle. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
All right, these next few we're going to go through individually, as these are new policies. Again, as we work closely with the Wyoming State School Board Association, these were recommendations that came forth just as we continue to stay up on our financial aspects and being very transparent with those aspects. And again, working very closely with our business department. These 6 policies we would like to add them in to our policy. And the first one, new policy DA, is fiscal management and goals. So again, this is all brand new information here. And really, this is just establishing the implementation of efficient procedures for accounting, reporting, investing, purchasing, delivering payroll, payment, vendors, contractors, and all those other fiscal management areas. So fiscal management goal, new policy DA. I appreciate your consideration for approval for first reading.
Thank you. Can I get a motion to approve new policy DA, fiscal management and goals?
So moved.
Moved by Mandy,
Second.
second by Tommy. Sorry, I didn't know where that came from. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
All right, our next new policy we'd like to introduce is DBF. This is budget hearing and reviews. And this is really just a summary of those proposed budgets that shall be entered into minutes, and the district shall publish that summary. And this is the last week before the budget hearing date, and also posted within our media and the newspaper aspect as well. And a lot of this takes place on that 3rd Wednesday of July. So we are just bringing this just up to speed to what we have been doing. I appreciate your consideration for first reading of new policy DBF.
Can I get a motion to approve new policy DBF, budget hearing and reviews?
A motion to approve BDF.
Moved by Tom,
A second.
second by Michelle. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Our next new policy is DBG. This is budget adoption procedures. This is a fairly short one. This is just again stating that the law requires the hearing to be held on or before that 3rd Wednesday of July for our budget adoption, which is again a practice we have been doing, and would appreciate your consideration for approval for first reading.
Thank you. Can I get a motion to approve new policy DBG, budget adoption procedures?
I move to approve policy DBG.
Moved by Tommy,
Second.
second by Mandy. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
All right, our next new policy is DEB, funds and state and federal sources. The highlight again, this is a shorter policy, is just really that the board authorizes our superintendent to execute and file applications for the school district to act as that authorized representative in matters concerning state and federally funded programs. Appreciate your consideration for approval for first reading.
Thank you. Can I get a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve policy DEB.
Moved by Mandy,
Second.
second by Michelle. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Our next new policy is DFC. This is rental and service charges. As you know, many of our buildings and even our old Jackson Elementary, there may be situations where we can rent or lease out those buildings. And this kind of outlines that procedure, and that really rental fees and any fees collected from the temporary use of this facility will be deposited into the operating fund of the district and used for general purposes. And that the school business manager will administer those leases and or the temporary use agreements provided for maintenance and property and necessary cleanup after the use of those.
Thank you.
Can
Can
I-
I get a motion to approve policy DFC?
I'll motion to approve.
Moved by Tom,
Second.
second by Michelle. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
And our last new policy of the evening is DJG. This is vendor relations. And again, just a short policy, just ensuring we will not hold any favoritism for any vendor, and that all vendors are eligible regardless of race, creed, color, sex, national origin, age, or disability. And also noting that no person officially connected with or employed by the district may have responsibility for participating in bidding, contracting with vendors, or purchasing supplies, materials, and so forth. Appreciate your consideration for approval of first reading for new policy DJG.
Thank you. Can I get a motion to approve policy DJG?
I move to approve policy DJG.
Moved by Tommy,
Second.
second by Mandy. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I know that's a lot of policies, but it'll be good to have us all updated. We'll move on to our board and superintendent comments. I don't remember what side we started on, but we'll start with Tommy today.
Okay. I guess to start out, Mary, congratulations on your retirement. What an accomplishment, 32 years. Wow. So we'll miss you for sure. Hopefully you come around. We got a lot going on in the district. I think too much for me to mention, but very proud of what's going on. It's clear to see the engagement by our staff, our administration, getting the kids involved. Exciting to see the white top testing, and also I want to highlight the work-based learning that's going on within the district. So that's awesome. Kudos to transportation and Truman for bringing some of that in. Hopefully we can expand.
Thank you, Mandy.
Good luck, Mary. We will miss you. I just want to say, as a new board member, thank you. It made my job easier coming in, and you were just so welcoming and helpful. So I appreciate it. Hopefully we'll see you in the district after retirement. I just want to tell the principals, the staff, everybody at the schools, great job. If it wasn't for you guys, our kids wouldn't be where they are. So our testing is reflecting that, and it starts with you guys. So congratulations, administrators as well. I think that's it. Congratulations to Mrs. Toman and the FFA group. That's really neat to see. I hope they do well, and safe travels down there when they go.
Thank you. Dan?
Good job on white top testing. Seems like we're doing good there. And with the ACT test results, it seems like we've had a pretty smooth start to school year so far. So let's keep that going. That's all I have.
Thank you. Tom?
Oh, all right. Well, Mary, thank you. You and I have probably been around here since dirt, but anyway, but you're going to be sadly missed, and thank you for all you've done. So I appreciate that. I think our test scores in general indicate that we're doing the right thing, that we're in a great district. I think there's something that people need to understand when you start comparing ACT scores to nationwide scores. In Wyoming, every kid has to take the ACT. Nationwide, that's not the case. Outside of Wyoming, that is not the case. So our kids are doing an amazing job, nearly 19 on the ACTs at our high school is phenomenal. I love all pro dads. I think anytime we can get dads involved, I think that's a huge deal. Our fall sports are off and running. Our volleyball team's killing it. But we've got some great stuff going on. And you know, Liz gets the honor of in her world, the teacher of the year in that category. Offering FFA and medals and woods and culinary, it's not the offering that attracts the kids. It's the person in front of the classroom. And Liz is amazing. So anyway, you see her efforts are rewarded and long overdue and much deserved. And then just hats out there to the University of North Carolina, defeated Florida in straight sets. Just saying, that has Wyoming ties, just in case you're wondering why I'm saying that, because the starting setter for the University of Florida is a Laramie High School graduate. And one of the starters for North Carolina is the daughter of a Green River High School graduate. So anyway, it was fun. I couldn't watch it. It was on TV tonight, but didn't last very long. So, and Florida was ranked number 11, just saying. So,
Congratulations, Grandpa.
Go ahead. Yep, you're up.
I wanted to say thank you, Mary, answering so many questions. And I know you probably just rolled your eyes like, how many do you have? But thanks so much. I appreciate it. And I wish you well. I think you'll enjoy retirement. And so thanks for all your years of service. I remember way back Spabine, and oh my word, right? And again, like with Liz Tolman, I want to reiterate what Tom said. You know, it is the person in front, but just like the kids, just the achievement that she's made, I just pretty exciting that we're ranked and already going to be on the national stage for our FFA. So thank you. And the J boots, so important. It's suicide is you know, a heartbreaking and a reality that we deal with in Wyoming. So I appreciate all the things that that are happening to try to prevent that. The All Pro Dad I thought was excellent, you know, because it's another way that we're communicating and bringing our stakeholders in to participate. And I just can't, I just think it's going to be wonderful for parents and making the dads feel even more welcome. And especially with single parenting and the divorce and things like that, just a way to gather men in. And I think that's vital for our nation and for our community. Also, can't believe the Y-top testing, right? Far out. What a great job. And that's every school needs to just, for no matter who you are, you really contribute to the atmosphere in that school, whether it's the custodian or the bus drivers. I guess it starts out with the bus drivers, you know, dropping kids off and making them feel welcome. And so I just want to say thank you for that and loving our kids.
Thank you. I would just echo what everybody else said, and a big congratulations to our district. Great work for everyone. Congratulations to the students for improving their scores and continuing to do well, and to their teachers and everybody in the district. So thank you and congratulations. And Mary, we will miss you, and thank you for all of your help. She's always quick to get right back to me. Sometimes I would shoot her an email and she's not supposed to be working and she'd email me back. I just meant for her to get back to me the next morning. But so I really appreciate you and all of your answers and all the history that you know to help us and guide us. So thank you so much. And it sounds like it's been a great school year. So good luck to all of our activities and schools and everybody. And I hope that it's a great year. Dr. Cooper.
Great. Thank you. Mary, thank you very much. You were one of the first people who greeted me here and welcomed me here to this district when I was a new candidate and I was applying here and interviewing here. So thank you. Setting up the gift basket and everything in my hotel room. I was so touched by that. I remember that right off. I thought, wow, this is a great district. They really care about their candidates making the trip out for the interviews back in March. And you helped me with so many questions. I'm new to Wyoming, so I have a lot of questions. Things are a little different up here. They're great. Don't get me wrong, but some of the acronyms are different and some of the things like the agenda is a little different than what I've seen in other states. So anyhow, thank you. Thanks for all your help through all those times. And we'll be reaching out to you in the near future, I'm sure, as needed. Big thank you to Dr. Demaray for that presentation. That was really well done, putting together all the YTOP scores, ACT scores, and really highlighting that from each of the schools. Really well done. And kudos to all you principals out there, all you school leaders out there, your teachers out here. Thank you for all your hard work. Very well done. I'm just super impressed. It just shows that collectively, as a larger team, as a district, and individually as the schools, things are working. Things are working well. Things are aligning. And you're providing some great outcomes for our students, and it's starting to reflect in those state assessments. And those ACT scores are very impressive, and those do mean a lot for those students that do want to continue on to higher education. They need those higher ACT scores. So thank you. On it. And I also want to thank, though, it's more than just the educators in the room. A lot of times we forget about the families and all of their dedication and all their work. Something that really attracted me to Green River was the community here. I was so impressed with how involved the community was and how strongly they supported our schools. And that told me that these strong families are supporting their kids and they're handing them off, as you mentioned in the presentation, they're handing them off to us then in kindergarten to take them and grow them from there to these great outcomes that we see, these outstanding test scores and these outstanding graduation accomplishments, and they continue on into their careers and on to college and everything else. And so it really starts at home, and I'm really impressed with the families in this community stepping up and starting those children off on the right step on a good first start. So kudos to all them. I also want to shout out to all of the activities. I've been working a lot with Tony. I've been spending a lot of time with Tony on specifically, I was thinking Friday night and Saturday, as we had a lot of events here, and that's kind of the norm for a lot of these weekends coming up. I'm looking at my calendar because I asked to be invited to everything. So my calendar's loaded up and it's been outstanding. One highlight I want to point out is just the swim competitions. That is so impressive. The aquatic center, I had never seen that before in a high school, that level of competition, the high quality facilities, 9 teams coming to compete, all of that being organized, including diving. I've never seen diving competition at a high school before. That was great to see. A lot of our Green River girls were winning and setting pool records. It was really cool to see those events. At the same time, we were hosting football events here at the stadium right down here. So it was a great opportunity to see a couple of great sporting events. And I do want to encourage all of you. We're going to keep telling you when these events are. We've shared the activities calendars. We run 30 sports a year here, 30 opportunities, season-long activities for kids that are performing all over our community. And so we have great opportunities to get out there and cheer them on and support them. And so anyhow, just great opportunities there. I was really, really impressed with all of that. And thank you for I don't know how to say it, just working on the strategic plan with me. That's something that caught my attention when I was first looking at the school district. It's a really well laid out plan, and you all joined with me to roll that out this summer and into the start of the school year as our foundational document that we can keep referring back to, that has 3 solid pillars to keep us all with alignment and with our leadership, so that we're very thoughtful and strategic as we move through the school year. with that guiding document and all of the action steps within that document. So thank you for your support with that work, and thank you for your support in general. It's been a really good start to the school year, I'll have to say. I'm really impressed with the staff and the community and all of your support as well. And we have many more good months ahead of us and a great school year to continue with. So thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you. With that, we'll adjourn.